Hey, I'm Jess Hugo, personal trainer and nutritionist, and I am here to show you that life is messy, but we're doing it anyway. Welcome to Doing It Anyway, the podcast for building the life that you want without burning out. Let's get into it. Do you ever have those days where you kind of just wake up and you're like, fuck this, like it is time for me to lock in, it's time for me to glow up, like my skin's breaking out, my hair looks ratty, like she needs a haircut, my clothes have stains on them, you know, and you just feel like everything's falling apart, my room's a mess. Yeah, and then you go online and you're searching for glow up advice, like glow up routine, best way to glow up, and I actually feel like the most complicated videos pop up. There's like a 15-step morning routine, what you can do today to glow up, and it's like requiring you to turn your whole life upside down. And the way that the room got in that state in the first place, the room that life got in shambles, the way that life got in shambles in the first place is because like you're not that type of girl, which is actually okay. Can we normalize this for a second? We're not the type of girls that constantly have our shit together. We are busy with work, we're busy with life. Like, how are we going to be perfect, right? So those type of routines just never actually serve us. So this is the glow up advice that I actually agree with, that I actually implement, considering I've lost 20 kilos and I've really built my confidence from 0 to 100. This is like what I actually do and what I swear by works, because I feel like every few months there's this new trend, this new glow up, this new supplement, aesthetic, morning routine. And I'm just like, no, the biggest glow up for me over the past few years, almost none of it came from any of those things that they talk about. And when I say like about me losing 20 kilos, no, this is not all tied to weight loss, but I just think as well, like, this all like has been so correlated to me and my story and my journey. Like the losing 20 kilos and starting my business has built this confidence. Changing careers has built this confidence. And it's like, it's oh my God, why am I stumbling? It has made me be more comfortable in myself and doing things that really, really scare me that I wouldn't have done before. So it's like what actually creates this glow up. Starting from ground zero, confidence isn't found, it's built. So if you're feeling right now that you're really lacking confidence, which I know a lot of you girls are, because I've been speaking to so many of you about how you're lacking confidence in your body, in your routines, in your life, and you just want to change that. But we can't just change that overnight. We can't just, find that under a leaf. Like, we actually need to build that. Stop waiting to feel ready, to feel confident, to feel motivated, because that can hold you back for literal years. If right now you're wanting to look for a new job, start applying for jobs. Just go scroll through Seek, see what's out there, talk to friends in different industries, like about what they're liking about their jobs, what they're not liking, because you never know. Like, you might have a friend just working a receptionist role, but they will be inside the world of like what their bosses are doing and what higher up managers and things are doing. Maybe they are familiar with a role that could be perfect for you, but you wouldn't know unless you got the ball rolling. You wouldn't actually know what you're passionate about and what's out there without actually going and looking on Seek and seeing what's available and things like that. And knowing this stuff pops up all the time. And I did talk about this quite recently with like, you actually are never going to know what you're interested in without looking, but you're also never going to know without putting yourself out there, because there's so many roles nowadays that you wouldn't even consider being a role 10, 20 years ago. And I think as well, it can be quite hard, right? Because who do we look to for guidance? Normally like our parents, family members, but then it has all been so rapidly changing so much that it's like I don't actually know who to turn to get advice, right? So it's like asking people in different industry, friends in different industries. I also see a lot of the time people posting like anonymously in different groups on Facebook, like find groups. I'm sure there is a group for that. Reach out to new people, ask questions, and be willing and open to start something new. Even if it's like a weight loss journey, same thing. You can go join a group and find like-minded community. I actually am very big on community. I do the community walks. I really try to, probably over the top, but push my clients to become friends and get to know one another, because I'm the common denominator, right? And one of them will tell me something. And I'm like, I think you would get along with this girl really, really well. Like, you guys need to meet or whatever. And then I'll do the community walks and all of the things and try to encourage everyone to go and stuff like that. Community is really, really important to me. And I've said to girls before, truly, like some of my long-term clients, when they're like, I'm really struggling with friends, I'm like, you have missed 3 community walks, babe. Like, at what point do you put yourself out there and stop waiting to feel ready and just come? And then it's like always the things of like, oh, I just want to sleep in. Yeah, okay, that is you like subconsciously blocking yourself from being in an uncomfortable situation because you're not ready to take that next step and build that level of confidence. So really auditing where you are at in life right now and what you're subconsciously doing and blocking yourself from going further. Even one of my one-to-ones, I hope she doesn't mind me sharing this. I'm not going to share all the details, obviously, but just like they don't need her at her job anymore, right? And I talked to guest episode with Lily about how she was made redundant from TikTok at like 23, 24, and she did not even know what the word redundant meant. And she was like, what the fuck? And it's like that fear of the unknown, right? So with this client of mine, I was like, this is almost like the perfect opportunity. They've given you notice. Start finding what you're truly passionate about. You're not passionate about the workplace that you're in right now and the industry that it's in. Find what you're passionate about. Go scrolling on Seek. Go talk to people and see what is out there. You never know who you're going to meet, and put yourself into rooms of like not necessarily going for like an internship or like a particular, like we don't want to step down, but as I said, going into the groups, finding different people. I also see, I think her name is Tammy. She makes videos on TikTok about jobs and recruitment and employment. Like we have so many resources available to us. Go and see what is out there. And you guys know this. I always talk about how I like love but hate the internet because there's almost too much information out there. And sometimes it's really hard to figure out what we actually need in that situation. And sometimes I'm the same. I'm like, I really am struggling with this. I wish I could find like a podcast on this, but like finding it is like so hard and so niche, and it's so weird, and that then becomes overwhelming because you're just consuming all this wrong advice and things like that. But that's why having support in that is such a good way to go about it. Like I was like to her, how much better do you feel now that we've kind of almost got, like, I'm not a careers advisor. I was like, this is not advice like that you need to go with, but what I would be doing is X, Y, and Z. Like it's funny because like I obviously coach her in fitness and we're talking all about like her job and like next steps, but it's because everything stems. Like she was like, I've been feeling so stressed about these changes with work that I'm like having higher cravings. I'm sleeping really low quality sleeps and like sleeping less, and I'm really struggling to like kind of stick 100% to my deficit because I just feel so anxious and stressed about work. And I was like, this, like everything you're saying has hit the nail on the head of everything I've been talking about for ages. If your deficit is unsustainable, you're not going to be able to stick to it when life is lifing. And funnily enough, her body actually responded really, really well, even though she went over her cows a bit. So then we ended up putting them up, and like we've been working on higher cows and her body's responding really well anyway. But that is exactly why you need the support in that, because I'm sure that if she was on her own, she probably would have overeaten, which is fine, given into her cravings, which is fine. But then from there, what happens? We feel really guilty. Then it spirals out of control. And next minute we've been eating over our cows for weeks on ends. And it's like, how do we get back into feeling confident in our deficit? So it's like, stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting to get support. Stop waiting for motivation to come around with every single pillar and factor in your life. Like the glow up happens from just sending it and just doing it and not worrying about anything and anyone else. You guys would die if you knew how often I just like will do something and it's so rogue. And sometimes it like doesn't even make sense to anyone. No one's done it before. And I think that's the thing as well, like especially with the photo shoot that I did in the city. Who's done that? Especially fitness coaches. Like Tiana also had her on the podcast, literally was like to me, I've never seen a fitness coach do that. And I was like, exactly. Because what do we see the fitness coaches do? The same boring photo shoot all the time. My whole life have always said that I'm very creative. I always think of things, do things outside of the box. I very rarely, this is like bad as well, but I very, very rarely even go on Pinterest. Like I honestly will just think of the most rogue thing and go and do it because that's what I want to do. Like the rebrand of the podcast. I just was like, yep, this feels good. I'm going to do it. I spent so long doing all these things, and like I don't have anyone to really run my ideas by. It's like me, myself, and I, right? I'm the founder, if you will. So I'm like, I am just kind of going to do it. And then getting that feedback of like, that is so cool. I've never seen anyone do that is very, very cool as well. But like, you know what I mean? I wouldn't have, if I was worried about what everyone thought, if I was worried about the fact that no one's done it and I was waiting to be ready to do it, I would have never done it because no one had done it. Funnily enough, I think I told you guys this, someone else, not a fitness coach, but someone else did the exact same kind of vibe literally like 4 weeks after, but I was like, well, I did it first. And my photos are fucking cool, like Kiara Slade that. So Anyway, next, the systems that support confidence. This is so important when we're thinking about glow ups, because as I said before, if we've gone from hot mess energy over here, then how are we supposed to just glow up with this hot mess energy still like following us around like a bad smell? So it's like, okay, if confidence is built through action, then we need a way to actually follow through with things. So we need those routines, making sure that our routine makes sense for us. Why are we going to the gym 5 days a week if we really only have time for 2 to 3 days? Why are we signing up to Pilates classes, strength training classes, whatever, when we know our life and our job does not suit that schedule? This is something I talk about a lot because I will sometimes go to Pilates, but they have the fucking worst times in the world. So I literally low key can only go like 1 or 2 days a week. And I was talking to one of the instructors, she's like, oh, but I have this time or whatever, because like the schedule changed and I couldn't come to one of her classes anymore. And I was like, that's the worst time ever. Like, I'm so sorry, but that is the worst time ever. And if you feel like you're bending over backwards to fit something in, it's so easy to fall off and feel unmotivated to do that because there's so many obstacles in your way. For me, obviously, it's a little bit different because I've been doing this forever. But if you're someone that's like, okay, I'm going to start going to Pilates, I'm going to go to the 5:30 class every night when I finish work at 5, like, it's just such an obstacle, knowing that you have to rush to get there, knowing that you can't be any later than 5 minutes later. Like, the reason, apart from like all the debates I've talked about with like Pilates versus strength training and all of the things, I think they're complementary, but if I was picking one, it would be strength training for sure. You guys already know my opinion on that, and I've done a whole episode on it as well, if you don't. But I think if you're in that situation of trying to like figure out what to do, I would not be going to a class that is so hard to stick to schedule wise. Classes are great for getting you familiar with a routine, like creating that routine, getting you in there, but I can guarantee you no one's checking your form. Even me, okay, obviously I'm a PT, obviously I have really great form with things that I'm familiar with, but Pilates is like a whole different ball game where they have different names for things, different moves for things that I've never done before. And if you've done Pilates, you could probably think the same, that they have the weirdest fucking names ever. Like, why is something called scrambled eggs? What the fuck does that mean? And it's like, that's obviously not a strength training thing, right? So even sometimes for me, I'm like, oh, is my form right here? And it's like, I am a professional and I'm unsure if my form's right because this is so different. So when everyone talks about like going into Pilates, I'm like, are they even correcting your form? Because sometimes I'm doubting myself in the class and people aren't correcting me. And I'm like, I just don't know. So not to go on a tangent, but it's like finding a routine that works for you and not just sticking to something because like, oh, in a class, like I've got an instructor there watching me. Probably not. Probably not. If they're not coming over and giving you any like hands-on feedback or giving you any suggestions, like honestly, probably not. And it does shock me. You guys know I do really prefer like that one-to-one coaching style, and I don't do group coaching because I love giving you hands-on feedback. I love seeing you go from a bent back to a straight back. I love seeing you improve week by week and giving you progressions and empowering you in that. So I think it's really important right now, if you're thinking about your routine, something that really works for you and doesn't feel like such a stretch. Too many obstacles is way too hard. Starting with too many days at once is way too much. Just create a routine that really, really makes sense and then utilizing your calendar to do that. I'm going to call out some of my girls for a moment. Why are you not using your fucking calendars? Why? I'm not even kidding. We have set scheduled times and then I'm still getting messages asking when the time is. And I'm like, girl, it's in the calendar on the app for you. I have sent you confirmation about it. Where is it in your calendar? Why is there confusion? We'll even have past messages discussing it and everyone's still confused. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? Why are we confused? Oh, I don't have a calendar. Why? You are putting more obstacles in your way and it's blocking you from being able to glow up and build that confidence. You need to have a calendar, Google Calendar, Apple Calendar. You need to pencil it in advance. Monday mornings, I do this. I do sometimes do it Sunday. It just depends how my week is going and has gone and whatever. I try to block out times in the week for, repeating like tasks that I have. I don't have them set up repeated on my calendar. I should, but I like to move them around a bit. Things that I always have every week. For example, Tuesday's check-in day. That is in there every single week. Monday morning is admin. That is in there every single week. So making sure I set tasks are in there. And then I know it's not like always perfect to be able to like fit your training session in, but I even know like right now that the day I'm recording is a Friday. I have next week a call on Tuesday morning. I was like, okay, I'm going to train before my call, jump into that call, then I'm going to jump into check-ins, then I'll have lunch. that is how I already have set out my Tuesday morning. So I'm making sure I train before, because otherwise, if I didn't think about training, I probably would have jumped in, done a little like client replies, like admin style stuff. Then the call would have come around so quick. Then I would have jumped into check-ins. Then I would have had lunch. And then next minute, it's like, 1:00 and I haven't trained yet. And then that's just so many obstacles in my way. So what I actually have put in my calendar is like, I'm going to be training at like 7:30. Cool, that gets it done, out of the way. Then I can jump into the call with clear mind, jump into check-ins with clear mind, and not have to stress about things. So you really, really need to be organizing your calendar and planning in advance. Planning. Get it out of your head on paper. And as I just said, like, it's Friday and I'm already thinking about Tuesday because I know how busy Tuesdays are. I know how involved it is inside my one-to-one with my clients, chatting back and forth in check-ins, going through everyone's forms. Like, it's a very involved day and I need to get it out of my head and get it on paper, organize it now before it rolls around, because otherwise, as I said, because I obviously prioritize my clients and my work and all of the things which you guys do too, right? You put your work first, then I would come last if I didn't make sure to train first. And knowing that I show up better in check-ins with more clarity, with more just like overall bubbliness when I filled up my cup first. And even sometimes I'll be training and I'll think about different things for my clients and then I can come in with it on that fresh mind. You know what I mean? So I think it's really, really important remembering to fill up your cup first. So many of us are always putting our jobs and everything first, and then we have no space or capacity for ourselves. By the end of the day, we feel absolutely drained. And then that's why we get stuck in this cycle and why we can never really glow up. So really just getting things out of your head on paper. And you guys know I love the brain dump as well. So making sure everything is in there, in a calendar. Google Calendar is your best friend. It also reminds you half an hour beforehand, which is perfect. Because the other day I forgot I had a booking, and then half an hour before it notified me. I was like, fuck, like I fully forgot. And I also plan in, if I have like somewhere to be, my drive as well. So it tells me when I like have to leave. So again, I don't have to think about it. It's on my lock screen and then I go. Hope that makes sense. Hope you took a lot away from that. Next. Oh, sorry. Actually, one more thing is we don't want to rely on our memory. I do this all the time. My toxic trait is, I'll remember. I don't remember. Pull out your notes and write it in straight away. Jess, seriously. Because I have done this so many times. And I'm like, I don't need a note. I'll remember. And I do not remember. We have way too much going on between every single thing that we're committing to at the moment to remember it later. So don't rely on memory and just write it down. Okay, next, start thinking beyond the next 6 months. So thinking of your future self, I have talked about this throughout this whole year, especially with us checking in 90 days into the year with our goal setting. I actually went back on my goal setting sheet the other day. This is the brain fuck. It's such a mind fuck. That's what it is. This is the mind fuck of things. Sometimes you can feel like, I don't know how I'm working towards achieving my goals. I don't know how I'm going. I pulled up my goal setting form the other day and I was like, I'm actually doing okay. Like, I'm actually quite on track. Some things have been pushed behind a little bit. Some things I think need a little more energy, but I'm actually going pretty good. And I've actually committed to and stuck to majority of the things on the list, and I've been achieving them month by month. And I was really shocked at that. And I think you're going to identify with this because you're like me. If you're listening to this, we're probably very similar, where you are a bit of a perfectionist and you put a lot of pressure on yourself to have it all worked out and to be perfect and to tick all the boxes and to succeed. And I think sometimes we can be so hard on ourselves and think like, why am I not there yet? Which comes with like such a self-comparison piece and social media being a highlight reel and all of the things. But I think as well, like remembering that going back to your goals and revisiting them makes you realize what you haven't achieved. Having that actual physical proof on paper helps you realize how you're working towards your future self and staying on track with your goals, and knowing as well that you can put things beyond the next 6 months. So thinking of like, if I have a goal right now to change jobs, okay, am I moving, like thinking into the longevity of everything? Is this a career I can see myself being in long term? If you're going into a weight loss phase, okay, what do I want to do beyond the 4 to 6 months of the deficit? Do I really want to work on my mobility? Do I want to work on my long-term health and heart health? Do I want to work on my strength? Like, those things are such a conversation of beyond the next couple of months. Right now, if you're thinking, okay, I'm going to glow up, you're probably just thinking the next few weeks to months. But I think we need to be asking ourselves bigger questions. What kind of 50-year-old are you wanting to be? Someone really healthy, injury free, not struggling with their bone health. Like, we don't want osteoporosis. Like, how are we going to be? Do we want to have a as good as possible menopause stage? You know what I mean? I know it feels like morbid almost, like thinking that far ahead, but it's something that the actions that we do now are really going to stem into that future version of us. So what habits are you actually building now to go into the future version of you? Stop seeing everything as a short-term fix and solution and a band-aid fix. We need to go further. And I've had a couple clients navigating such big health things lately. You know, I've been navigating everything with my eye, and it's like, I'm not just thinking about the now, I'm thinking about the future. Even with what I'd said about, like, I don't want to be taking 2 pills a day forever. I can barely remember when I've taken them. It's like been a whole thing. I was talking to someone about that, and she was like, if it's something that you don't want to do forever, look into the long-term solutions, look into other solutions. Like, she was talking about, you know, going down the route of homeotherapy, which I've never done. Is it called homeotherapy? You're going to know. I was like to her, I've never heard of this ever. She literally Googled it. Going down the path of, like, if you want to do naturopath, as I said, the neurologist said I could do like acupuncture. Like, there's just so many future things, right? Right now, these pills are almost like a band-aid approach. Where can I go beyond that, where I'm not just taking pills for the rest of my life? Really thinking future, and understanding your body and your body's needs instead of like fighting it. Because if we're talking about future health here, we need to talk about food as well. We need to get under wraps our nutrition basics. We need to understand the basics of why we have food, what food we have for fuel, calories, macros. Like, some girls, I'm hoping if you listen to the podcast, you do know what macros are, but I was having a conversation recently and she didn't even know what the macros were, which is not, it doesn't say anything about her. It says some stuff about our education system. Why do we not even realize and understand like carbs, protein, fats? It really should be taught in school so that we can understand how to read a nutrition label in the supermarket, understand how food affects our energy, our recovery, our muscle, our cravings, our fuel of things. And like, this is not me to go into a deep nutrition lesson. I will do a different episode on that, but just really thinking about how it affects our day to day, because I know that I was feeling like shit for so long, and nutrition changed how I felt. Being across my food changed how I felt. And don't get me wrong, sometimes deficits can be so mentally taxing, right? But when you go through a deficit phase, you understand tracking, you understand food, and you get out the other side of, okay, now I actually understand things and I'm going to fuel my body properly, eat a maintenance. There's so much mental clarity that comes with that. And to be honest, I wish I'd spent more time actually understanding the long term, understanding how my body actually works, how different foods affect my mood and the energy and all of the things, than chasing quick fixes to see a weight loss result, or thinking I needed supplementation when reality is like, if you're eating a good nutritious diet, you don't need supplementation. We get majority of our nutrients from diet if we're eating a proper diet. And when I say diet, I just mean like food, not deficit, you know? Oh, I feel like I've been yapping for so long. Okay, next. I feel like I need a drink. But anyway, treat your goals like they actually matter. I feel like we very willy-nilly just say like, yep, I want to achieve this, and we kind of write it down and never go back to it. I've seen 2 different versions of this. I've seen that version, but I've also seen girls where I'll say, cool, what are your goals for the new year? And they just say the same as last. What is this? Groundhog Day? We want to challenge ourselves. I was talking to someone and she said, I do that so that I can tick them off, because I know I'll tick them off. And I was like, but you're playing so small by making such tiny goals that you've already done before. So it would just be like a repeat of like, oh, spend time with family. And I'm like, that's not pushing you to get better at anything, really. If you're putting it every year and that's the extent of it, like, go deeper, go into the depths of like why you want to be doing X goal, what the outcome of X goal would be, how that would change your life. Like, actually treat your goals like they matter and make them so important that you're checking in on your goal setting all the time. As I said, I did it the other day. It's really important to know what to do, be across your goals and know what you're wanting to achieve. Like, don't just say them once and never think of them again. Because that's how we get caught in this thing of like, we never get that glow up because we want the results, but we don't allocate time to do it. And we kind of treat our goals as an afterthought, and we kind of are just wishing for them versus planning for them. So really going back to what I said at the start, having that calendar, having that routine, really like scheduling things in so that we stop wishing and start planning. I think something that's super underrated as well is like, we don't celebrate ourselves enough. And because we don't celebrate ourselves, we fall off quite easily because there's no incentive. So celebrating yourself along the way of the journey, giving yourself little rewards. When I lose 3 kilos or I stay consistent for 4 weeks, I'm going to buy myself a new activewear set. When I hit 8 weeks of consistently tracking and showing up for my sessions and hopefully 3 kilos down, whatever the thing may be, I'm going to buy a new pair of shoes. Once I hit my 5 kilo weight loss goal, I'm going to book a holiday. Like, I think you get the point. And the point isn't spending money. The point is reinforcing, like, I'm proud of myself. I'm doing the thing. And we should really make fun out of it. What I do is every time one of my one-to-ones hits 1 year inside my world, I celebrate them with a gift card. And I actually put a lot of thought into this as well, funnily enough. Like, this sounds silly, but recently I was really overthinking what I wanted to get one of my girls, because I don't just send a gift card to the same gift card, to every single one of my girls. Like, I'm not just sending the Iconic to everyone. No, I'm sending you the Iconic because I know you want a pair of shoes from there. I'm sending you City Cave because I think you really need to focus on recovery and you deserve time for self-care. And I know you don't spend that money on yourself, so I want to put that into you. I know you love books and love reading, so I've sent you a Dimmix one. You know what I mean? So I celebrate my clients in that way, but I want them to see themselves in that, to celebrate themselves in that. So know that, like, you're not going to be able to glow up if you can't celebrate the wins and be proud of yourself. Lastly, I think the most underrated glow up habit is documenting your life. I know it sounds silly, but right now you're avoiding photos. You're waiting until you're smaller, happier, until you're more confident. But as I said, confidence comes from doing the scary thing. Take the photos of yourself. Do you need to post them on social media? Not necessarily. But right now I want you to open up your camera roll from, like, the screen that you can see. What's that? The last 60, 30 photos? How many are, like, of you? A selfie of you, a full body picture of you, like, how many? Because I can guarantee you're avoiding full body pictures. I can guarantee you're being so strategic with angles of selfies, or you're not taking any at all. And I think it's so important for our confidence to get in front of the camera. It's so important to take these memories, make these memories, and be seen. We need to take up space and be seen. And that's exactly what I did with my photo shoot that I was talking about before. I wasn't at my leanest by any means. It wasn't like a fitness style photo shoot, but I was in all of them, not at my leanest, not caring about anything. I had the whole eye thing going on, but I just was like, I'm just going to do it anyway. And the memories of that is so cool. I've obviously talked about it a few times, but I was just walking in the city, taking up space, being seen, not being afraid to get in front of the camera. And the longer you wait to do those things, the longer they're not going to happen. So I think one of the, like, kind of saddest things is when I look back at my camera roll to when I was 20 kilos heavier, I don't actually have that many photos of me to share with you guys when I'm trying to show you the before and afters and things, because I didn't like taking photos. I didn't want to be in photos. I was avoiding the camera. I would stay behind the camera because I wasn't happy with how I looked and I didn't feel confident in the photos and any of the things. But in reality, that glow up, that 20 kilos, it wasn't just about changing how I looked. It was about stopping me from hiding and putting my life on hold and being afraid to do things that I was afraid to do. I actually think photo shoots are so underrated. So I challenge you to today to take selfies in your camera roll. No, they don't need to be seen. No, they don't need to post on social media, but that's step one. And then if you are the type of girl that does take selfies already, but doesn't post them, I challenge you to post on your story today. I know it's scary. I know it's, oh, what are the bitches from high school going to think? I know all of that, but I challenge you to that, because that is how you're going to build the confidence to do it. You do it once, then you show yourself you can do it. You never know who's even going to also validate you low key and be like, this is so cute, all of the things. You know I will be. You know I'm replying to all my clients' stories. But then that shows yourself like, oh, I actually can do hard things. And oh, I actually didn't die. It wasn't that bad. And then you keep chipping away and building up that confidence from there. And then next minute, you're in a photo shoot. And you're getting in full body pictures, you look confident as fuck, and you're taking up space and being seen and posting those on socials. Like, that's how far you can get with this confidence that you're building block by block. Now, when I talk about all of these things, like, none of them are particularly glamorous, right? None of them are like groundbreaking. None of them are a overnight success of something that you can do straight away and just be done with and tick a box of. But when I look back, these are like truly the things that actually changed my life. Not a trend, not a hack, not a supplement, just consistently becoming someone who trusted herself more and more, built block by block on how I was actually going to glow up and do the things that I wanted to do. So I hope you loved this episode. I actually loved it. I hope you took away a lot from it, and I'm excited to see your photos on Instagram. I'll catch you all in the next one. And that is a wrap on another episode of Doing It Anyway. If you enjoyed today's episode, I would love for you to rate it 5 stars, share it with your friends, share it on your stories. And if you have any feedback, I would love to hear it. Please shoot me a DM on Instagram. All my links are below. See you in the next episode.